But we're really fortunate. We have a really quite large warehouse that was empty, and so it's 9,000 square foot, which is quite decent.
That's
size.
Insane.
Yeah, it is good. That's just for the workwear store. So
Squeegee Podcast Season 2. This podcast is sponsored by Blind Maggot, Magna Colours, M&R, Target Transfers, and Adobe Creative Suite.
You all right?
Yeah, good. How are you? You're a busy man.
Yeah, it has been busy just recently. It's good.
Can we kick it off by doing like a little introduction?
My name is Graeme Stocks. I have a couple of small businesses. One of them is a workwear clothing company where we print, embroider, and then we have a clothing brand called Drop Clothing, which is about the individual, whatever it is that you prefer to do.
Yeah, it's kind of like extreme sports, isn't it? Like, well,
yeah, very much so.
Skating extreme.
Well, yeah, I guess so. It's extreme for me because I fall off a skateboard, so it's extreme for me. But no, I'm a snowboarder. Snowboarding is my thing, so
nice.
That's where it's driven.
Yeah, because they kind of go hand in hand with like loads of stuff. Like you could even do, throwing yourself out of a plane, skydiving.
Yeah, I can
get all those kind of
happen for me.
Yeah,
I'm scared of heights, but yeah, I do like anything that's extreme would be kind of cool. The whole ethos behind it is more tailor-made to individuality, and so I have a hashtag which is antisocial apparel, which is definitely not about going and kind of kicking in the windows of a bus shelter.
Yeah,
it's about finding whatever it is that takes you away with your craft. So whether it's a microphone and you're a singer, or whether it's your earphones and your music, or whether it's your skate deck or your snowboard or your parachute if you're jumping out of a plane, whatever it is that puts you at one with whatever your craft is. So that's what that's about.
I just noticed that like when I'm looking through all your stuff, and even when we're at the festival together, you've got like a massive range of stuff, considering when I'm looking at how long you've been around, did you only start it at the end of 2018? Is that right?
I only really started it in 2020 as such. I think I'm in a fortunate position because I own a workwear company. We were able to have all the equipment to pick and choose when we want to make something. So when you have a little bit of downtime, I'll consider, well, rather than sit quietly, why don't we just make something for the brand?
Yeah.
But I always knew I wanted to do a clothing brand, and I wanted it to have a meaning. So like yourself, so I go down the eco-friendly route. But you don't always know if people are going to like what you do.
Yeah.
So I was very careful about what I started with, and I made it super simple. And every time we went on a snowboarding trip, I would take clothes and hand them out and say, just wear them. At least I can get some cool photos with snow around, and it fits in with what I want to do on the website. So that was 2018, but I really didn't push it until we were preparing last year for Boardmasters. So
yeah, because you've got to produce a lot of kit for that kind of stuff, don't you?
Yeah, you do. So we took down to Boardmasters probably about 1,500 products.
Yeah, it's a good chance. Yeah,
I ended up taking, the van was full, the family car was full, and it was successful. I enjoyed it far better than the one we've just done.
I know. Yeah, NAS was a weird entry in, because like I did.
That was your first, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I did loads of research. I even talked to people who've been there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're fitting really well." And it's not that we didn't fit in. I don't think it was just. What was your feelings?
I think the clientele was wrong for what you wanted. I mean, the footfall's great. It was interesting because I've just done a collaboration with a guy who creates artwork based around the London Tube sign, and he calls his little character Tubey, and it's pretty cool. I really like it. As I went into this collaboration with him, I committed to an amount of money for him to do the design, so I could license his brand and do this really unique link with us. And then 3 days before the event, I thought, do you know what, I aren't going to take this because I have a feeling that it's not right for the event. And I'm glad, because we had an agreement in place where I had to sell so many products to warrant having the logo on the brand.
Really?
Yeah, it was a
God,
really.
who wrote that in? That's a strange one.
It was a bit of a strange one. So, but it wasn't successful enough. So I'm really glad I didn't take it to that. I think possibly for Boardmasters it would be more successful. So
Yeah,
we'll take it to Boardmasters instead.
yeah. Because I was talking to the organizer. Basically, we accidentally ran into him at a bar at NAS, and he was saying like actually their capacity was only about 10,000.
That's all it was. It's supposed to be 55,000.
Well, he said it was advertised to us at 30,000. It's like, well, whatever, mate. It's like, he said,
nowhere near. And in fairness, the people who were there, ridiculous. I've never heard this sentence more in my life, but I really like your T-shirt, but I don't get paid till Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
You brought enough to get your drink and your food, and that's it. That's all you really come with. So yeah, it was a bit of an odd one for me.
Yeah.
I'll do again.
Yeah, you have told me like don't base it on that, and I was really tempted with Boardmasters.
Boardmasters is brilliant.
Yeah.
If you ever do consider doing one, that is definitely one that you'll come away from going, that was definitely the right choice. Because I mean, it might have changed a little. When we went last year, I think we were the only ones that I could see with eco-friendly clothing. Everybody talked about it, but nobody really did it. Our whole product was eco-friendly. Yeah. But the clientele are different because you've got families on holiday, you've got people who are really into the sport, and people are just go expecting to spend money. And
yeah,
we've created some kind of almost like groupies of the brand, I think, where when we opened a specific shop up here in our factory here, they travelled up to the opening, and some travelled
nice.
to Leicester and across from Manchester, and it was brilliant for us. It shows that there's definitely something in what you're doing. Yeah. And it was interesting how we approached the product exactly the same, whether you were dealing with a young child or whether you were dealing with a 70-year-old grandma. They both loved the product. I had one instance, I thought it was great, and we had a rail outside, and I put the same hoodie on each end of the rail. And on one end of the rail, we've got this mixed race guy, really, really cool, top knot and everything. Thought he's the epitome of what I want wearing.
Yeah, what you imagined.
Yeah, super cool, 19 years old, and he bought the top. And at the other end, you've got like a 70-year-old couple, and the old lady's got it on saying, Frank, what do you think of this hoodie? And they both walked up to the till at the same time and bought the same hoodie. And I just thought that's as diverse as you're going to get.
Yeah.
It was entirely what Boardmasters was about. It was brilliant.
So, yeah, I keep thinking about it. Like, let's just load the van up and maybe just do a last minute.
It's exactly what I'm doing. I'm loading the van, and we are going to camp, and we're going to have some fun.
Yeah. No, I think that's cool. So I know that you have got the workwear place. Like, do you want to like say what the name is or anything, or you just
so I have a little workwear company called BigDog Workwear. I called it. I've seen in one of your questions you asked how we got our name. So I'll tell you why we got Drop. So Drop is because I'm a snowboarder and we drop the mountain. And so
you drop into the skate.
You drop in on the ramp. You drop the beat, whatever it is. It felt like the right fit. So I played about with a lot of names, and that was the one that I settled on and felt most happy about. What I did find out is there's also a Canadian company called Drop that do a very similar sort of product. So as long as I keep to the UK, I should be okay. Yeah. Although I have protected my brand, which is good. BigDog was interesting. So I also own an engineering company. We make power steering for cars. It's really, really boring. It employs 50 people, and we were looking for a new product line. And as part of the new product line, we had to brand a bag. And so I bought a T-shirt printing company that were going bust. And the guy who ran the T-shirt printing company, I met him playing football, and I'd never spoken to him until he picked me up off the floor. He fouled me, left me on the floor, and looked over me and said, "The big dog's just had you." And so when I started the business, I called it.
Do people still say stuff like that?
Yeah, he's old. He's really old. He thought he was cool, I think. But yeah, so he said that, and I just looked at him and thought, right, when I take over your business, I'm going to call it Big Dog, and that's the reason why. So nothing too.
That's quite good though. I like that twist.
Story alongside it, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like pulling someone up and then just dropping them.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
exactly.
what you did to him.
Exactly.
That's
So,
really
so
funny.
that is the main business up there. But we're really fortunate. We have a really quite large warehouse that was empty, and so it's 9,000 square foot, which is quite decent.
That's
size.
insane.
Yeah, it is good. That's just for the workwear store. So we split it up, and we have a store. We also have the Drop now as a shop in there. We have a skate park in there, which is pretty cool. We have a gym.
That's the dream.
Yeah, it is. Do you know, it is a one-stop shop for a bit of fun. It's got to be said.
Yeah.
And then we've got the production workshop. So we embroider, we screen print, we laser etch, we direct to garment, we have a tattoo print, we have vinyl.
What's a tattoo print? What's that?
Yeah, it's hard to explain. We call it tattoo because I don't actually know what its real name is. So basically, when you direct a garment onto a dark garment, you have to spray it first to help the ink adhere and kind of still be vibrant. But I was struggling to find eco-friendly chemicals to do that with.
Right.
So we bought this printer that prints onto almost like an acetate sheet with the ink, and then you heat press it on, and it leaves the ink behind, but it's vibrant straight away, so you don't have to treat the garment.
Right.
It's good, but I don't think it's incredibly robust. So like with screen print, it's really robust. This isn't as robust. You know, if you put it on a hot wash and it was crinkled, it'll come out with little lines in the print, and I don't like that. So I don't use it very often. But you can make temporary tattoos with it. So we might make some drop tattoos for Boardmasters, I think.
Yeah, that worked so well, by the way, just getting people in. And I thought they were just going to take, we did that at
You had a
Nats.
stamp, didn't you?
No, it was little baby temporary tattoos.
Oh, was it really? That's
Yeah.
really cool. I didn't know that.
So cheap. It's really, really cheap. Yeah, you just slice them up. In the end, I just had loads of little logos. But the kids, if they don't put sun cream on, your logo gets burnt into their skin, but the other way around.
That's
So you
really
protect.
cool.
Yeah, you protect their skin with your logo, and they get burnt around it. So technically, you're not hurting them then. But
I got really burnt at NAS, I have to say.
Yeah, you two
I
next to each other.
about 3 days.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's quite fun. Can I ask, I know you do have the workwear place, but if you had just maybe £1,000 or something, and you had to start drop from nothing, what are the things that work the best for you for other people trying to get into it who don't have those resources?
All right, so in fairness, I did start drop entirely with my own money and nothing to do with work, because I had business partners in the other business, and it wasn't fair to expect them to fund my idea. Yeah. So I did do it that way, and we just created small runs and built it up, and tried to raise the revenue that way. The simplest thing for me was to do t-shirts because they're the cheapest option to start with. I didn't have to buy any equipment because we had it. So that was I guess the blessing. But if I was to start, I would hit eBay and find the cheapest option to get doing screen printing and start and build and go from there.
Yeah.
I think
so bring it in house straight away.
Yeah, without a doubt. So my ethos is very much, and it's particularly about my engineering company, that we don't like to outsource anything. So if we need to buy plastic components, I'll buy a 3D printer and we'll learn how to make them ourselves. And that's been the way that we've always worked, because financially it's the most viable way. Short term it's hard, long term it's the solution for me. So it's the same with all the things in the workwear store. I literally opened it with a direct to garment machine. But you find very quickly that that's limiting, I guess. Yeah,
they all want embroidery workwear, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And so I bought a single head embroidery machine. I bought a brother with kind of 6 colours, and it was fine. It's perfect. And we still use it for short runs now or immediate needs. And then I searched eBay and found a 4-head machine that needed some service. Because we're engineers, we fixed it.
Nice.
Needed some components, we 3D printed them. So again, it worked really well.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. So I bought a 4-head embroidery machine for £3,000. Great price, but then we fixed it up. It took us 3 or 4 months, but now it's full operation and it's never let us down.
Yeah, God,
It's a
so
bit old
tricky.
school, but it still works on floppy disks.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah, my kids don't even know what they are.
I know your kids wouldn't know, would they?
No.
Talking about like you've told me like that you've got 6 kids. When I
Yes.
was on the store, you said like they're actually like really useful for the brand and stuff because they're like
Oh, great.
into art and design and
Yeah.
like, how have they like worked with you?
They
on
love
the
it and they champion it, and actually they think I'm quite a cool dad, which is good.
Ooh.
I like that. I know. As if so, I turned 50 when we were at NAS. It was my 50th
All right.
at NAS. Yeah. So my oldest daughter did a degree in art. My second oldest daughter, who's 21, has just finished her degree in graphics. My 18-year-old son has just finished his A-level in graphics and product design. My 16-year-old,
Like you're hot housing them or something.
yeah, it's like sweatshop, isn't it? It goes against everything we believe in. My 16-year-old has just finished his GCSEs, but he's amazing on the computer, so he does all the uploading to the website. He takes the photos, and then my 2 younger girls are both just really sweet, so they're nice to get photos of those online.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, we all champion it. It's good. It's a real family affair, which we love.
That's a really crazy useful, and also you can run things past them to say like, is this current or is this just like what I like?
Yeah.
Like, would you wear this?
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's interesting because my 18-year-old son is big time skating. I don't understand half of his clothing choices because he buys trousers that are like Dickies pants that are a 44 waist, and then the concertinaed all the way around because he's only like a 30 waist.
Yeah.
But they're super cool because they're the baggiest things you've ever seen. But he's really current with his ideas. And then my 21-year-old, she's super cool. She's very, very cool. And so if I come up with something that they don't like, I know generally within a few minutes. I think the blessing of being able to do it in-house is I can only do one and I don't have to lose many products.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas if I'd gone and outsourced that and had that done, then I could lose a lot of money.
Yeah. Another thing is like, how do you manage? I think I know the answer because I think you use a lot of the same stockists, but how do you manage to make your brand environmentally friendly? Like, do you just keep all the actual blanks towards like a couple of, just keep the blanks to a certain couple of suppliers? Yeah,
so we probably use the same suppliers anyway.
Yeah.
I tend to use Stanley Stella, Continental, a bit of B&C, one or two others. I try to keep it as simple as possible. So in my workwear store, I'm also trying to encourage people to choose environmentally friendly clothing over just kind of the cheap fashionable clothing. It's hard, but we are turning them around. One of the contracts we have is with a rugby club called the Huddersfield Giants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I used to be at uni at Huddersfield, and my brother played for them a little bit. I think he played for them. Okay. Whereas they're like physio and stuff. Yeah.
All right. So Huddersfield Giants, they had to close their store in COVID. Right. And one of their ex-players is a guy called Earl Crabtree. His uncle was Big Daddy. So he's a friend of mine, and so we got chatting, and I said, look, maybe we could build you a website, run the store for you, people could come and collect, and we'll just distribute everything you lose.
Brilliant, yeah.
So we did that, but we've converted them entirely to eco-friendly clothing now. So there's nothing in their range that isn't sustainable. It is good. We the fortunate thing is, I think, because you buy them as blanks, we don't have to produce them until we really sell them. We can produce one in kind of 3 or 4 hours. But we use the same blank for us, for Huddersfield Giants, for anybody else that chooses to use it. That's where we promote. So
yeah, that's awesome.
We don't have to stock those.
Also, now you can say like, yeah, these are the ones that Huddersfield Giants use, and it's like, well, obviously I'm going to get it. Do you know what I mean? That's
exactly.
Yeah.
What frustrates me is though, because they're established, their brand carries stronger weight than my own little brand at the minute. So what I would normally sell for maybe 40, 50 pounds in my own brand, they'll sell for 60, 70 pounds. And I think, oh, that's where I want to be. So as we get there slowly, we'll probably make ourselves more in line, a bit more exclusive.
Yeah, it's tricky that. I've seen brands just come out like on their absolute first shirts and they're like 50 quid a shirt, and you're like,
I know, how do you do that?
Yeah, but maybe you have to start high.
Yeah, you do. And I think if you sometimes go too low, you devalue your brand. But I'm also very keen for people that aren't understanding sustainability to try and understand it and be affordable, because fast fashion is cheap and throwaway, and I get that. And if you some of the things that you use and what we use, the quality is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And because quality is awesome, it's important to me that we kind of make it affordable as well. I'm not out to make a quick buck for sure. I would more, I'd be more happy if I see somebody at a football game wearing one of my tops and think, yeah, we made that.
Yeah.
That means 10 times any kind of financial gain for me. So.
Yeah, it's tricky. Have you ever sussed? There's this one issue that we're like can't figure out in the studio yet, and it's like we're packaging up our shirts and then we're storing them, but we're packaging them up in little paper sandwich bags and we're putting stickers on to say like what is in it.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's a paper brown bag, so you can't see what's in it. And so we're thinking like, right, other people, are they bagging these up in plastic bags? Or are they just leaving them blank? Or
we don't bag them. We have a storage system of tubs, a bit similar like you have at your stall. You have plastic tubs, didn't you? You know about individually. When it's individually, I hang them in the store because I have a shop.
Yes, of course. So you never really we've got a shipping container, and we kind of have to store them at some point.
So. Shipping container a little bit, so you probably need to store them quite well. I won't pack them in plastic because I don't like that. No. Unless I can find eco-friendly, biodegradable plastic, which you can find if you look hard enough. If you put them in paper bags, you can't see them, which is hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we did I literally hung everything, which was hard because you don't have a lot of space in a kind of 3 meter by 2.5 meter shed, but just have to keep rotating.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So I was just kind of working out, are you doing, because how are you getting away from your other businesses and just going, guys, I'm going off for a festival for a week? Is it just because you're one of the bosses that you can do that, or how are you dividing your time?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a balancing act all the time. I own all the businesses, so it's up to me what I do anyway. But I think out of courtesy to everybody else, I book it as if it's a holiday. And I don't take any more holidays than anybody else. I probably take less than everybody else. So last year, our family holiday, and my wife hated this, although she enjoyed it in the stand. But we booked an Airbnb down in Fistral Beach, and then we went to work every day. So we had 2 days holiday and 6 days working hard. But actually, the experience as a family was really good. You know, my kids were interacting. Youth find it hard interacting. And so to interact in the way that they did, or my little 10-year-old taking payments on the card machine.
Really? Oh, wow.
It's life skills, so cool. Isn't it, I guess? And so they all enjoyed it, and they all said it was their favourite ever holiday. So that was good. It's hard. I do find it hard to balance. I probably do more hours than I should. My engineering company, I'll kind of do 40 hours every week. In my printing company, probably 5 or 6 hours, and in my workwear store, probably about the same.
Yeah.
So balance it.
Yeah. I'm kind of juggling stuff now, but I've got things that are paying cash flow.
Yeah.
And then and I know I have to keep doing them, but I'm trying to phase them out with other things. I'm trying to swap Blind Maggot sales over for other things that I don't enjoy anymore. So it's
but that's what funds it, isn't it? It's a really fine line. So our workwear side, we don't do lots of massive jobs. It tends to be, you might do some levers for these art, which I don't like doing, or
they're fucking nightmare.
Yeah, they are. But then we do things like I don't know if you know the MP that was murdered, Joe Cox.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was in our next village to us, and her sisters were friends. So we do all their t-shirts when they're on, and it's kind of 2,500 prints, and it's just really nice little way of earning a bit of money that funds the other things we want to do. So as long as we cover our overheads, I'm comfortable with that. And if you get to the end of the year and you've just kind of broken even again, I'm comfortable with that. It employs 7 or 8 people in the shop, which is perfect. And we all do all right out of it.
So if you kind of manage to take your hands off that mainly? Because you're saying like you spend most of your time with the engineering. So
Yeah.
Cool. Would that be like a general business bit of advice? Just take your hands off and give it to someone else. Like build the systems and roles for other people. Or?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, it's interesting when we started the workwear store. We were establishing, so we didn't really have a lot of money to pay wages, and it was always a risk taking somebody on, thinking, will you break even this month or will you not, because you're not guaranteed any work. And so I would at the start do a lot more myself until I found the right person. So now we've got a really lovely team. We've got a guy who's been in workwear most of his career. We've got a bookkeeper that sits in there and deals with the phones and the finances. We've got a couple of ladies who just embroidered pretty much most of their life. One of them in particular used to make from patterns, would make stuff for the catwalk that they might send out to Milan or whatever. So she's really good for us. And then I've just taken a couple of screen printers from a company called Awesome Print.
Oh yeah.
So they've just come and joined me, and they're creative. They're really, really creative. So I can go and say, this is what I want to achieve, and then they come back to me and say, what do you think of this? Back in the early days of my life, I did a BTEC National Diploma in graphics. So it's always been a passion. But I mean, back then everything was hand drawn. There were no computers or anything like that. But it's definitely, if you've got the right people and you can convey what you want to achieve, then generally they come back with something good. And if they don't, then, tweak it. It doesn't work like that. No. Inside, definitely not in the printing side.
Strike one. No, I'm joking. And then I know I'm horrible. No, I'm not really. But another huge part of like really becoming an established brand is like has to be social media if you're starting it in this time. Have you found like working with your ambassadors, and how do you feel about this thing about sending shirts to influencers and hoping they take a decent photo of it? Have you ever lucked out?
I know exactly what you mean there. So influencers, this is a difficult one. So when I started out, I didn't understand social media. I was never on Instagram till about a year ago. I kind of thought
you've done bloody well for a year. You were like on over 60k or something.
Yeah, we've done okay. We've done fine. But I do a couple of promotionals generally with other businesses to try and generate leads and followers. So some of it I would probably say isn't true followers as such. I think it's meant to be, but it doesn't always. I can't see them kind of following everything I do. No, I don't believe in influencers in certain way. Like we were looking to launch something before I started the brand. We were doing something with a charity called Calm, campaign against living miserably. And so a friend of mine's in Coronation Street is a good friend of mine, and we'd done this together. And we were talking about influencers with a graphics agency, and they said, oh, you can pay kind of this amount of money, and this guy will do this post, and you'll get all this followers, and you'll probably get sales on the back. I don't like that. I'd rather find somebody that's going to just champion what you do and wear it all the time. So I started looking for kind of, I don't know, maybe a pro skater, and I found a pro skater, and I do sponsor him at the minute, but everybody and his dog wants this pro skater to promote them. So I changed my tactic, and I started looking for, I don't know, 15 to 20-year-old kids that are in the skate parks, that are in the BMX parks, that just love a freebie and will wear it all the time, and they'll do your post every day. So I have a young lad called Kobe. He's great. He snowboards, he skates.
I've seen him on your thing.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool guy. And then I've got a guy that I got at NAS called Ollie. So Ollie surfs his bike. I've never really seen anything like it before.
Surfs his bike. Is that the guy who was going?
He stands on his seat and his handlebars, and he just kind of like rolls down the hill.
Oh, right.
Or he wheelies around. Yeah, they were all around our stall. So I sponsored him. He's good, and it's maybe 5 or 6 t-shirts. What's that going to cost you? Maybe 30 quid.
Yeah.
But he does me a post every day. I don't put it on because I don't want it just to be one-dimensional. But it's great, and the publicity is great, and his dad obviously is really grateful that his son's got some sponsorship, so he tells his friends, and that's how it works.
So literally just sponsoring through just freebies,
yeah.
Or do you have to do financial things?
It's an easy way to do it. They appreciate it, I appreciate it, and everybody's a winner. So I think probably one of my biggest growth areas has been because of doing that. So I sponsor a young up and coming band that are just doing kind of BBC presenting, Radio 1 presenting, whatever. And I sponsor a couple of skaters. I have a guy who jumps off his BMX and just silly things, but it's exciting.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Have you ever like done bits of like paid advertising that's actually worked? Because whenever I do it, I know I need probably professional help about it, but I've only done it twice, and both times I just threw like 250 quid into a drain and I never saw anything out of it.
No, so I don't do that. What I've done a couple of things. So sometimes if I put something on that I want to push, like I've just launched a t-shirt yesterday, and so when I put it on Instagram, I paid, I don't know, £5 a day for 6 days. It's guaranteed to hit 12,000 people, whatever it might be. And I've already sold a number of t-shirts today that have all been shipped. So it works. You got a little link on the site, takes you straight to the website and to that actual page. That has worked, and it paid for itself on day one. I did do a couple of adverts with other companies to gain followers, and it was basically probably 10 companies put 30 quid in a pot, and at the end there's an iPhone that's given away. This is what I was saying to you, I don't think they're true followers. They're probably more interested in the iPhone than me, but the law of averages are that some will go on my site and some will see what I do, and if that's what it takes, then I'm comfortable with that. It's not a fortune. I would say in advertising every month, I probably spend £150 at the very most. Yeah, and that includes anyway t-shirts.
So really, if you were starting completely fresh, you'd probably just print like one round of shirts from your bedroom with a press that you got off eBay. Take half of them down to the local skate, park. Give them away, take photos of them, just do it super organic and just go from there. Do you think it's like people haven't got enough patience for that, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, do you know what's interesting? Because for me, I guess I'm in a fortunate position that it's not my living, isn't this? This is my hobby at the minute. I'm hoping one day that it'll be the next Volcom or the next DC shoe. It's obviously pie in the sky, but they're the kind of brands I aspire to be a little bit like. But no, for me, I'm fortunate that it's just at that fun stage at the minute. It's not serious business, but it's doing okay. And I hope that eventually it becomes serious business. But right now, if I feel like printing 50 t-shirts and giving them away, then I'm happy to do that. Because I think that the more that wear it, the more that talk about it. And I'd rather do that than put an advert in a magazine at like 1,200 quid and get nothing. It's people see it, they feel it. It's like the t-shirts are good quality, aren't they? We use t-shirts, they're awesome. And anyone ever tries one on or a hoodie, they go, "Oh my goodness, this is awesome."
I know, if you get them to try the hoodie on, it's a sale for sure.
The hoodies are really good. So if I can get them to do that, then I think you've got a believer straight away. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it might be the same for us, because we're not actually pushing it yet. Like that festival was probably the first time that we went, oh, okay, we are going to have to chuck a load of money at this and go for it. But the actual shirts that we produce, they're just a byproduct of our YouTube videos and stuff. So they've just been like compiling, and we haven't even done any modeling or anything else. Like, I think that's very important.
My models are my kids. Which is
so lucky. Well, no, right.
It's the easiest way. My 16-year-old lad is a handsome little beggar. Must take care for his mum, but he's kind of 6 foot. He's lean. Everybody thinks that's kind of cool. His nucleus of friends love the fact that he's wearing that, and he'll talk about it at school, and the schoolmates follow. It's hard to understand, I suppose, what your demographic is, and I think maybe when you said that I've got quite a big range of stuff, yes, I have, and maybe I've tried to diversify too much. We're just in the process of reining it back in a little bit.
All right.
because I started out looking at things for my own friendship group, and then I'm thinking, well, actually, how many 40-odd-year-olds will want this? Probably I'm better looking at an 18 through 25-year-old group, which is, I guess, where it's more tailor-made now. But I did even do baby stuff, and I've got little denim jackets for a 6-month-old.
Yeah, but that's because you've got your kid and you've got
a grandchild. So
dress them up. Have you?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Got a little grandchild who's 18-months-old, so she's a good little model.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound to me. It's a waste of money, I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think the next tactic is what you're saying. Just go to the bloody skate park, put it on some kids, and just go from there. Really,
I think it depends how cool your designs are as well. I mean, your designs are awesome. Do you do them all yourself, or do you outsource?
Em does about half of them, and then we do what loads of t-shirt brands seem to be doing, just like getting them either from tattooists sometimes.
Yeah, I do that.
Or just buying a design online as like a starting block, and then just taking it, ripping it apart, maybe even putting on 3 or 4 different items in different variations.
Yeah. So I do the same thing. So I found a guy who's, I think he's probably from somewhere like Indonesia. Really nice guy, and he did one design for me, and I loved it. And I took it to Boardmasters last year, and everybody raved about this design. And so I asked him to do me 3 or 4 more, and they're not very expensive. He's got to the point now where he's coming to me saying, if I do you 3 or 4 designs every month, would you be willing to work with me? And I'm thinking, well, you're possible, because everybody likes what you do. What I don't always feel comfortable with is colour choices or little tweaks. But then we do that in-house, so we just get as an AI file and play about with it, and it's good, so we can change the colours. So there's a t-shirt we've just launched that we've changed the colours entirely, and the whole image looks completely different because of it. It's more striking, it's more powerful, and we just launched it yesterday, so I'm really excited. It's nice to be able to just have that in-house and play about with it.
Is that the guy spraying drop on the wall?
Can you see behind me?
I just looked at your Instagram, but
that one there.
Yeah, very cool.
So this was lime green and purple. It's not anymore.
It's just, I don't think there's much complexity to it. I think if it takes off, then I think that's the phrase. I think that phrase "takes off" is just like a weird myth. There's like a lot of work and releases, and you just sort of like got to be patient, but also just try not to.
That is for real.
Yeah.
I think my thing has always been, and this is why I probably don't go to the gym, because if I go to the gym one day, I expect to be up on day 2, and it doesn't happen. Whereas if I sweep the warehouse at work, I feel great because instantly it looks great. I think the same with clothing a little bit. I'm having to learn to be super patient, because not everyone's going to buy into the concept, not everybody's going to buy into the designs, but then you just get 1 or 2 that like it, and it will snowball. And I am finding it's gathering pace now quite nicely. But again, just patience, it's a good virtue.
Yeah. It's funny you said that, because actually at the beginning I was thinking you were saying all these things which were like, oh no, just delayed gratification, just wait, put the work in now and don't want to see results for 6 months, which I'm really trying to do here. But it sounds like you are doing it, but you also got like that active mind that probably just wants to push loads of designs out.
I would bring a new t-shirt out every day.
Yeah.
My wife tells me off every single day.
She reins you in.
Well, yeah, because we've got this shop, and it's a good sized shop, and it is literally rammed with clothing. And she'll say, "Get rid of those first, and then we'll move on to this." I say, "Yeah." But so I've got probably 20 designs I've never brought out yet.
Yeah. That's kind of like saying, instead of going out for an ice cream with the ice cream man, she's like, "There's a chalk ice in the fridge."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And in fairness, she does it because she's conscious that, it's got to become a financially viable thing at some point. And I have thrown a lot of money at what I'm doing. I've got to be honest with you, I haven't held back, because we were in COVID, we saved money. I know it cost me. We used to go to Nando's twice a week. We haven't been to Nando's for 2 years. So it's been really nice to be able to use the finances for something I really believe in and enjoy. And if you did ever understand what I do in my engineering side, you'd understand why I need to do the other side, because this is the bread and butter that brings in the finances for the home, but it is the most mind-numbing job on the planet. And dealing with people, and I have a lot of staff, is awful, because they always come with a whole plethora of silly things that go on in their own lives and bring them to work. But actually going upstairs and spending a bit of time in my production side is just what brings me some peace.
Yeah.
So if that keeps my mental health in check, then I'm all right with that. I can live with that.
I think more people need to build that kind of thing in. No, that's brilliant. Thank you. Yeah. You're like a resource for the business and the brand, and got lots of stuff going on.
Do you know, in my engineering side, I have a really big client called Euro Car Parts. They're a really, really big company. And they used to have this brand called Stag Steering. It was awful. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. And they said to me, one time they invited me down for a meeting. They said, "Oh, you've been to art college, haven't you?" I said, "Yeah, of course I have. I was 18 at the time." But you went to okay, well, can you just come up with me a new brand? And I'm like, "Oh, okay, then that's fine. If you're not got anybody in house," and like, "Yeah, we have, but we believe that you can do it." So I asked what the criteria was, and they just said German engineering. So I went away that night, and I don't know any German at all, but I woke up in the middle of the night with this word Hirsch. So I thought, oh, that sounds German. And so we'll work around that, and the very kind of blues, royal blues, blacks, whites. So we came up with a design around Hirsch and found out that Hirsch means antlers. So they've gone from stag to antlers.
Yeah.
Didn't think anything of that at the time, but they absolutely love the brand. And so we started then to promote the brand in different ways, through football particularly, you know, like we see the billboards around a football pitch and on sleeves of football shirts and things like that. And actually building the brand was one of the most exciting things I've ever done. And actually, if you were to Google Hirsch steering now, people call it a genuine product, and it's not. It's just something I came up with one day. But if you go into Europe, it's understood now that this is a brand. So for me, that's what I want to do with Drop. I want to see this hit different areas. I don't particularly want to sell it through shops. I want to be as independent as possible. I don't feel that there's an urgency or a need to kind of sell his soul. I want to keep it unique to us. I love the fact that my family are involved. It's the only thing I've ever done with my family business-wise, and it's just exciting.
Yeah. Oh, they're never going to forget things like working with the dad on a store. That's going to be like, that's lifelong memories, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I was going to ask for a shop hack, but I don't know if you're like
shop hack.
Have you got anything?
Not really. I mean, my only things I think that I try to do in regards to my shop itself, I'm trying to convey the message of sustainability all the time. So even my walls are made out of recycled pallets.
All right.
Everything is follows the ethos of the clothing. I think that my ethos in life is learn everything yourself and don't outsource, because that's how you make your money. And then you're not beheld by anybody else either, and just to keep being unique. I think you know, my wife she loves to buy from the high street. I hate to buy from the high street. All right, so she'll buy from the high street and she'll, oh, these are really cool. Well, my opinion is, yeah, be cool, but make it individual. And I don't have to make 100 of them. I'd rather have 5 of them or 6 of them on, because that's what keeps it unique and individual. So I don't really have a hack as such, just keep it individual. But
you do have a hashtag, which is anti-social clothing. Yeah. Absolutely. Brilliant. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me on. Okay. Well, look, thanks for that.
No problem. Have a nice evening.
All right. Take care. See you.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.